What are you doing here?
Moving in, just got the keys.
To this building? Let me see some ID.
Just unloading my car. You can see the boxes.
That's not what I asked. ID, now.
I don't think...
Turn around, you're under arrest.
Officer Mitchell had no idea what he just walked into. In the next 72 hours, his badge would be suspended, his department would issue a public apology, and his 12-year career would be under federal review. The suspicious man he was about to arrest, Boston's newly appointed police chief, the first black chief in the city's 200-year history, Chief Marcus Williams had spent 22 years in law enforcement. He led task forces on police reform. And he literally wrote training protocols on racial profiling for the Massachusetts Police Academy. He'd moved to Boston just 3 days earlier to take command of a department plagued by misconduct allegations. And Officer Mitchell's body camera was recording every single word. But Officer Mitchell had no idea who he was about to handcuff. Chief Marcus Williams was 47 years old. Just 11 days earlier, he'd been appointed Boston Police Commissioner, 22 years in law enforcement across 3 states, former deputy chief in Philadelphia. He had a master's degree in criminal justice from Harvard Kennedy School. He led an Obama-era task force on police-community relations. But here's what Officer Mitchell didn't know. Chief Williams wrote the Massachusetts Police Academy's training manual on implicit bias. He testified before Congress on racial profiling reform. He was featured in Department of Justice reports on constitutional policing. Williams had just moved from Philadelphia with his wife and teenage daughter. He'd purchased a $1.2 million condo in Back Bay's historic Beacon Hill district. He was unloading furniture on his second trip from the U-Haul truck. On this Saturday afternoon in May, Chief Williams was just trying to move into his new home. He had no idea one of his own officers was about to make the biggest mistake of his career. Before we continue, let me ask you something. Have you ever been judged just because of how you look? Drop your answer in the comments. Officer Derek Mitchell had been with Boston Police Department for 12 years, and he had a history. Derek Mitchell was 38 years old. He was a patrol officer in District 4, covering Back Bay and South End. He'd never been promoted beyond patrol despite 12 years on the force. He was a former Marine who joined Boston PD in 2011. 7 civilian complaints in 12 years. 6 of them involved black men. None resulted in discipline. In 2015, a black college student near Boston University campus complained about a stop-and-frisk. Mitchell claimed the student fit the description. The case was closed. No action taken. In 2018, Mitchell used excessive force during a traffic stop in Roxbury. The black driver was hospitalized with bruised ribs. Internal Affairs cleared Mitchell. In 2021, Mitchell confronted a black delivery driver outside the same apartment building. He demanded proof of employment. The building manager had to intervene. The building concierge recognized Mitchell immediately. They called him the problem. He would patrol this block and always stop black visitors. Residents had complained to building management twice. Mitchell had gotten away with profiling for years. But on May 14, 2023, his luck ran out. Because this time, the man he targeted wasn't just another black resident. He was Mitchell's new boss. Saturday, May 14, 2023, 2:47 in the afternoon, 285 Beacon Street, Back Bay, Boston. A historic brownstone converted to luxury condos. Units sold for $800,000 to $2 million. It was a tree-lined street with high foot traffic, a popular tourist area near Boston Common. It was a warm spring afternoon, 68 degrees. Families were walking to the nearby park. A U-Haul truck was parked legally in the loading zone with hazards on. Chief Williams had already made 3 trips up to Unit 4B building. Concierge James Rodriguez was at the front desk. 2 residents were in the lobby. Emily Chen, a retired teacher, and David Okonkwo, a software engineer. Several pedestrians walked along the sidewalk. At 2:47 p.m., Officer Mitchell arrived driving a marked patrol car. He slowed down when he saw Williams carrying a lamp toward the building entrance. He parked his cruiser across the street. He got out. Rodriguez saw Mitchell through the window. His stomach dropped. Not again. Mitchell crossed the street with his hand near his holster. Williams had his back turned. He was placing the lamp down to grab his keys. "Excuse me, what are you doing here?" Williams turned around, surprised but calm. moving in, just got the keys. In that moment, Marcus Williams made a choice. He could have immediately identified himself as the new police chief. He could have pulled rank and avoided the entire confrontation. But he didn't, because he wanted to see exactly how one of his officers would treat an ordinary black man. If stories like this matter to you, make sure you're subscribed. That's when everything changed. To this building, let me see some ID. I'm just unloading my car, that U-Haul right there. I didn't ask about your car, I asked for identification. Am I being detained? What's the reason for the stop? You're in a high-value area, acting suspicious. Several break-ins reported here. I live here, Unit 4B, my name, S on the lease. Sure it is, ID, last time I'm asking. My wallet, S in my back pocket, I'm going to reach for it slowly. Keep your hands where I can see them. Williams froze, his hands were visible. Okay, what do you want me to do? Turn around, hands behind your back. You're arresting me, for what? Trespassing, failure to identify, resisting. Williams kept his voice steady. I'm not resisting, and I'm not trespassing, I live here. That's for the station to sort out. Officer, I'm asking you to reconsider. Check with the building, call your supervisor. Mitchell stepped forward. He grabbed Williams's arm. I don't need to call anyone. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Rodriguez burst out of the building. Wait, he does live here. I have the paperwork. Emily Chen was filming from the lobby. This is insane. He's been moving in all afternoon. David Okonkwo was on his phone. Yes, 285 Beacon Street. An officer is arresting a resident for no reason. Mitchell ignored Rodriguez. He reached for his handcuffs. Williams pulled his arm away. I'm not resisting arrest, but I'm not letting you cuff me without cause. That's resisting. Turn around now or I will take you down. Williams kept his voice calm. Officer Mitchell, badge number 4187, I'm giving you one more chance to stop. What Officer Mitchell didn't know was that Chief Williams had already memorized every officer's badge number in the department. He'd spent the past week reviewing personnel files, and Derek Mitchell's file had been flagged for review. Now Williams was seeing exactly why. Rodriguez ran up with his tablet showing the lease. Sir, here's the proof. Marcus Williams, Unit 4B, lease signed May 1st. Mitchell barely glanced at it. Step back or you're obstructing. Williams spoke carefully. Officer Mitchell, I'm going to reach into my jacket pocket. I'm going to show you my credentials. Slowly. Williams pulled out his badge wallet. He flipped it open. The gold commissioner's shield caught the sunlight. Mitchell's face went white. I'm Chief Marcus Williams, Boston Police Commissioner, and you just tried to arrest me for moving into my own home. Mitchell stammered. I didn't know. You don't look like. I don't look like what, officer? That's not what I meant. There's been break-ins. I was just. You were just what? Doing your job by demanding ID from a man legally unloading furniture. Rodriguez stepped forward. I tried to tell you. I came out here 3 times. You wouldn't listen. Emily Chen was still filming. He asked you to call a supervisor. You refused. You grabbed him. David Okonkwo added, I've seen you do this before, last year with the delivery guy. You patrol this block looking for black people to harass. Mitchell's body camera had recorded everything. It was mandatory activation for all public interactions. Emily Chen's phone video was uploading to the cloud in real time. The building's exterior security cameras captured the full interaction. The U-Haul truck GPS and timestamped rental agreement proved Williams's story. Lease documents and building access logs showed Williams had entered 3 times that afternoon. You're going to call your supervisor, Captain Reynolds, right now. Mitchell was shaking. Chief, I apologize, I didn't realize. You didn't realize I was your boss, but you still would have arrested me. That's the problem. Williams called Captain Reynolds himself. Tom, it's Marcus. I need you at 285 Beacon Street. Now, one of your officers just tried to arrest me for moving into my own home. Yes, Officer Mitchell. Badge 4187, and Tom, bring internal affairs. Mitchell tried to explain, there's been a misunderstanding. The only misunderstanding is that you thought I was powerless. You thought I was just another black man you could intimidate without consequences. Mitchell attempted to backtrack. I can explain in my report. Your body camera explained everything. You're suspended, effective immediately, badge and service weapon, now. Type justice in the comments if you think Officer Mitchell got what he deserved. By now, Officer Mitchell was starting to understand how badly he'd miscalculated, but it was too late. The footage was recorded. The witnesses had seen everything, and standing in front of him wasn't a victim he could silence. It was the one person in the entire city with the authority to end his career. And Marcus Williams was just getting started. Captain Tom Reynolds arrived in 8 minutes with Lieutenant Sarah Hoffman from Internal Affairs. Both addressed Williams first. Chief, we're so sorry. Williams cut them off. Don't apologize to me. Figure out how many other people Mitchell has done this to. Hoffman reviewed Mitchell's body cam footage right there on the scene. Reynolds interviewed Rodriguez, Chen, and Okonkwo. Building security provided all camera angles. Williams demanded Mitchell's personnel file and complaint history immediately. Mitchell's story fell apart. He claimed he was responding to break-in reports in the area. Reality, no break-in reports had been filed in that neighborhood in 6 months. Dispatch logs confirmed 0 calls. Mitchell claimed the man matched the description of a suspect. Reality, no active suspects in the area. Mitchell made this up. He claimed Williams was acting suspiciously and wouldn't comply. Reality, the body cam showed Williams was calm. He explained the situation. He offered proof. Mitchell escalated at every opportunity. Body language analysis of Mitchell's own footage showed something clear. He targeted Williams immediately upon seeing him, before any suspicious behavior occurred. Williams spoke directly to Mitchell. Badge, gun, radio, you're suspended without pay pending investigation. Chief, please, I have a family. The people you harass have families too. You're done. Hoffman stepped forward. Officer Mitchell, you're required to surrender your duty weapon and shield. You'll receive notification of your internal affairs hearing within 72 hours. Mitchell went through denial. This is an overreaction. I made a mistake. Then anger. You're making an example out of me because of politics. Then desperation. I'll retire, I'll resign, just don't put this in my file. Williams responded firmly. You should have thought about that before you tried to arrest your boss for being black in his own neighborhood. Williams declined a medical evaluation. I'm fine, but I want every complaint against Mitchell reviewed by end of business Monday. Rodriguez offered Williams water and apologies. I'm so sorry, Chief, we've complained about him before. Chen showed Williams the video. I'm posting this, people need to see. Okonkwo added, thank God you had the authority to fight back, most people can't. If you believe in police accountability, hit that subscribe button, because we're not done with this story yet. Williams stood on that sidewalk for another 20 minutes. He watched Mitchell drive away in a supervisor's car, shieldless and stunned, but the consequences were just beginning, because Emily Chen had already uploaded the video, and someone at Boston PD had leaked Mitchell's complaint history to the press. By sunset, the story was everywhere. By 4:15 p.m., 90 minutes later, Emily Chen uploaded the video to Twitter. Her caption read, Boston cop tries to arrest black man for moving into his own building. Plot twist, he's the new police chief. 847 retweets in the first hour. By 5:30 p.m., the video was shared on Reddit. It appeared on 2 major subreddits. They combined for 12,000 upvotes. By 6:45 p.m., local news crews arrived at 285 Beacon Street. All the major Boston stations were running the story. By 8 p.m., national news picked it up. CNN, MSNBC, ABC News were all running segments. By midnight, 2.3 million views across all platforms: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. By Sunday morning, the hashtag Boston Police Bias was trending nationally. 4.7 million combined views. The numbers kept climbing. On Twitter, 147,000 retweets, 340,000 likes, 28,000 quote tweets. On TikTok, 1.8 million views, 340,000 shares. On Reddit, front page, 67,000 upvotes, 8,400 comments. On Instagram, it was reposted by major activist accounts with millions of followers. On YouTube, news segment uploads totaled 890,000 views. The public response was overwhelming. This is exactly why we needed a black police chief. He experienced what we've been telling them happens. Another comment said, Officer Mitchell tried to arrest his own boss. I cannot stop laughing at the karma. Someone else wrote, notice how he immediately became respectful the second he saw the badge. That's the whole problem. And the question everyone was asking, how many people did Mitchell do this to who didn't have a badge to protect them? The Boston Globe ran it on the front page. New police chief confronted by own officer on moving day. CNN's headline read, Boston officer suspended after attempting to arrest police chief. Local outlets interviewed Rodriguez and building residents. Boston PD issued a Sunday morning press release. Boston Police Department. Our team takes this incident extremely seriously. Officer Mitchell has been suspended pending full investigation. We are committed to transparency and accountability. The mayor released a statement. Unacceptable. This is exactly the culture Chief Williams was hired to change. Mitchell tried to deactivate his social media. Too late, screenshots were everywhere. His police union issued a vague statement. Officer entitled to due process. The statement backfired. The public saw it as defending racial profiling. Let me know in the comments what you think about Mitchell's union defending him. 3 days later, Officer Derek Mitchell made the worst decision of his life. He gave an interview to a local news station. He thought he could explain himself. Instead, he confessed. On May 17th, Mitchell appeared on local news trying to defend himself. He said, I was doing my job. I didn't know who he was. The reporter asked, would you have arrested him if you knew he was the chief? Of course not. So you only arrest black men when you think they can't fight back. Mitchell stuttered. The interview ended. The video went viral again, another 3 million views. From May 18th to June 2nd, Internal Affairs investigated. They reviewed Mitchell's 12-year history. They discovered the pattern, 7 complaints, all involving black men, ages 22 to 51. They interviewed 11 witnesses from past incidents. They found 2 unreported incidents that building management never formally filed. Body cam review showed Mitchell routinely stopped black residents in wealthy neighborhoods. On June 7, 2023, Boston PD terminated Mitchell. The reason? Violation of department standards, abuse of authority, racial profiling. Mitchell appealed through his police union. On July 20, 2023, there was an arbitration hearing. His appeal was denied. On August 15, 2023, the Massachusetts Attorney General opened a civil rights investigation. The financial consequences hit hard. Mitchell lost his $89,000 per year salary. He lost his pension eligibility. He would have vested in just 3 years. His legal fees defending himself cost an estimated $40,000. He cannot work in law enforcement in Massachusetts. He was decertified. In September 2023, Chief Williams filed a personal lawsuit, discrimination, violation of civil rights, emotional distress. He sought $500,000 in damages. In December 2023, the city of Boston settled to avoid trial. The settlement, I'll tell you in a moment, but first, understand what this meant. The settlement terms were $375,000 paid to Williams. He donated every penny to racial justice organizations. The city issued a formal apology, and mandatory retraining was ordered for all Boston PD officers. The social consequences kept mounting. Mitchell was banned from all Boston PD facilities. He moved out of the Boston area. He tried to get a security job. He was rejected after a background check. In February 2024, his wife filed for divorce. His LinkedIn profile was deleted after harassment. The Attorney General declined criminal prosecution. There was insufficient evidence for a criminal civil rights violation, but the case created precedent for future cases. The state legislature introduced the Chief Williams Act. It adds enhanced penalties for law enforcement racial profiling. Williams released a statement. "This was never about money, it's about accountability. If this can happen to a police chief, imagine what happens to people without power." He donated the entire settlement to the ACLU of Massachusetts and Boston NAACP. As of 2024, Derek Mitchell has no law enforcement job prospects. He's working a warehouse job. He's featured in training videos as an example of what not to do. Derek Mitchell lost his career, his pension, and his reputation, all because he saw a black man and assumed he didn't belong. But the story didn't end with one cop's downfall, because Chief Williams had a message for every worker who'd ever been treated this way. On June 10, 2023, Chief Williams held a press conference at Boston Police Headquarters. "I've been a cop for 22 years. I've worked in 3 different cities. I've written policies. I've trained officers. I've testified in front of Congress. And in 60 seconds, Officer Mitchell made me feel exactly how millions of black Americans feel every single day: powerless, scared, and guilty for existing." He paused. "My daughter watched that video. She's 16. She asked me, 'Dad, if you weren't the police chief, would you be in jail right now?' I couldn't answer her, because the truth is probably yes." Williams continued, "I've spent my career studying racial bias in policing, I know the statistics, I know the patterns, but knowing and experiencing are 2 completely different things. The average person doesn't have a badge to protect them. They don't have authority. They don't have a lawyer on speed dial. They just have to survive the interaction and hope the officer doesn't escalate." His message was clear. If you work in retail, food service, hospitality, and someone treats you the way Mitchell treated me, you have rights. You don't deserve that abuse. And more importantly, we need to build systems where you have the power to fight back. He addressed the public directly. Respect isn't a courtesy, it's a requirement, and consequences aren't optional, they're necessary. Officer Mitchell thought he was above accountability because he'd gotten away with it for 12 years. That ends now. Williams outlined what he wanted changed. New training protocols for all Boston PD were implemented in July 2023. A civilian oversight board with subpoena power was approved by the City Council. Mandatory body cameras activated for all public interactions. It was already policy, but now it would be enforced. He thanked the witnesses. To James Rodriguez, Emily Chen, David Okonkwo, thank you for speaking up. You didn't stay silent. That's how we create change. His closing quote was powerful. Dignity isn't negotiable, respect isn't earned by authority, and justice isn't justice if it only applies to people with badges. We are going to do better, starting today. But this case exposed something bigger than one officer or one police department. It exposed a culture of impunity, and the numbers don't lie. The statistics tell the story. Black Americans are 3.5 times more likely to be stopped by police than white Americans. That's from the Stanford Open Policing Project in 2023. 65% of Black Americans report being treated unfairly by police at least once. That's according to Pew Research in 2023. Only 1 in 12 complaints against officers result in any discipline. That's from the Police Accountability Database. And 87% of police misconduct cases involve repeat offenders. USA Today investigated that in 2021. This case was different for specific reasons. Williams had institutional power. He was the boss. He had legal expertise to know his rights. He stayed calm, and Mitchell still escalated. The body camera footage was irrefutable. Witnesses documented everything in real time. The story went viral before the department could control the narrative. Public pressure made a cover-up impossible. But what are the root causes? Officers are trained to demand compliance, not earn trust. That's cultural entitlement. Qualified immunity protects officers from civil liability. That's a structural policy problem. The burden of proof in misconduct cases overwhelmingly favors police. That's a legal gap. Most victims can't afford lawyers or don't have time to fight. That's economic power imbalance. and officers protect each other even when they're wrong. That's the thin blue line culture. What changed after this case? Boston PD now requires supervisors to review all body cam footage from stops where a civilian complains. Previously, only high-priority reviews happened. There's a new anti-profiling checklist officers must complete after stops. It requires an articulable reason, not appearance-based decisions. The Massachusetts Attorney General now tracks pretextual stops. Those are stops with weak justification. The data will be published quarterly. The first report in January 2024 showed something disturbing. 23% of stops in high-income neighborhoods involved Black individuals, but Black people make up only 8% of the population in those areas. 15 other police departments in Massachusetts adopted similar body cam review policies. The International Association of Chiefs of Police featured this case in their 2024 training materials. But what still needs to change? Qualified immunity still protects officers in most cases. Police union contracts still make it nearly impossible to fire problem officers. There's no national database of officer misconduct. Officers fired in one city can be hired in another. This story has been shared over 4 million times. Share it if you think more people need to see this. This case sparked a bigger conversation about who gets the benefit of the doubt and who doesn't, about power, who has it, who doesn't, and what happens when you challenge it, about consequences being real, not just public relations statements, about a society that requires a police chief to experience racism before taking it seriously. So let me ask you this. Do we really believe police reform is possible when officers like Derek Mitchell can racially profile people for 12 years without consequences until one of they? Our victims happens to be their boss. Do we really believe accountability exists when the only reason this case got attention was because Marcus Williams had a badge to fight back? Do we really believe the system works when we need body cameras, viral videos, and national outrage just to fire one bad cop? Because if we don't fix qualified immunity, if we don't create real civilian oversight, if we don't track and fire repeat offenders across state lines, then we're just waiting for the next Derek Mitchell, the next Marcus Williams. Except next time, the victim won't be the police chief. There'll be a delivery driver, a college student, a father moving into his new home, and they won't have the power to fight back. Comment below if you believe Officer Mitchell should be banned from law enforcement nationwide. Comment if you think qualified immunity needs to end. And comment if you've experienced or witnessed profiling yourself because your story matters. Hit subscribe because we're going to keep exposing these patterns. We're going to keep demanding accountability. We're going to keep fighting for real police reform, for protected workers' rights, for a system where justice doesn't depend on whether you have a badge. This isn't just about Derek Mitchell or Marcus Williams. It's about all of us and the system we're willing to tolerate. And I don't know about you, but I'm done tolerating it. Are you?